Welcome to the Craig Hangout tonight. We've got Chuck, BP Professor, Stephen, Nemo, and Ace. Tonight we're going to be going through the updates, the whip, and the statement that is given out by Kixeyes. BP Professors, because there was no show on Wednesday, BP Professors joined us to go along with his slides. So if you want to kick us off.
All right. Okay, so Whip and Sog. I'll try and go through the beginning stuff pretty quick. So bug fixes and changes. We got new retrofits. I'll go in a little more details on that. And world map repair, same thing. Then bug fixes. We've got fixed a long-standing issue with the avatar where it fails to load. I know that was bugging the hell out of me. No, not really. And then the second one was good that they fixed because they screwed it up with their last fix. They made it so that when you had a limited base weapon and you built it, then when you pulled up that turret, it would show up red, and that was confusing the hell out of people. So apparently they fixed that one too. So that's good.
Yeah, less confused posts on the grid page.
Yeah, over and over again. All right. So let's look at World Map Instant Repair. This was kind of a surprise new feature. So it allows players the option to instantly repair their fleets on the world map instead of recalling to base. So if you're hitting in a sector, you can keep repairing and keep hitting without coming back to base. We had a visitor in our sector doing that today. Will we be able to? I wrote this actually just as it came out. So you can do that free 5-minute instant repair, but not per ship. So there's some use there. If you're using like like a gunboat and mastodons to hit the torp towers in 85s or something like that, this is kind of useful. And then I haven't checked yet. I don't think you can do this on dead fleets, right?
Yes, you can. They do stop for a couple of seconds on the water, so the guy does have the option. We had a guy about an hour ago who got his fleet killed off 4 times in a row and coined it on the world map.
All right. Well, send him my thank yous for supporting the game. So, anybody else liking, disliking this feature?
Yeah, I do. The fact, do we still get the VXP if we do the instant repair thing?
I think they claimed it was well, it was broken at first, and you lost it if you did that instant repair. But I think they fixed it. I haven't checked,
Right,
but they
that'll be a
claimed
good
to have
thing.
fixed it.
So you do get the instant when you do repair on the world map, you get the VXP between the coining of it.
Oh, well, that's a good question. You probably have. I don't know.
Or does it stack up?
I haven't tried this yet, so I'm not sure on this one.
And I suppose that would be the same with the resources as well. Do you get to claim those resources, or are you still at 500%?
I believe you stay at full if you're full, but I was just noticing over in chat people are saying the show's looking blurry for something. Is there anything we can do about that? Because
This
I'm
is how
looking at it and it's looking that way as well to me.
this is how I always broadcast.
It looks fine on my second monitor.
Okay.
I'll have a look to see if there's anything in the settings, but guys, just double check to make sure you're using the highest settings on there to watch it.
Yeah, it looks all right to me.
Good.
All right, let me get back to presenting. All right, so let's move on from instant repair to the new retrofits. So I tried to summarize the new retrofits. So we got 5 new categories. This was all messed up in the whip, by the way. They got the categories wrong, but I went through the retro lab and picked everything out. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. So they got Scourge scatterguns for the Cobra that improves splash. We got heavy missiles to improve splash on the Scythe and the Death Scythe. Coax missiles improves fire rate for the Trident. Scattergun turret improves your Drac scattergun splash. And then rail cannon turret improves the range of your ballista and your Deadeye ballista. So these seemed all right. A bit expensive in the uranium, and in fact, I don't know how anyone is going to be able to afford our 11 scattergun turret, because that'll be 300k uranium.
It's going to depend what these trap bases pay out, really. I mean, I know people can sort of get uranium easy, but some sectors are pretty dead, so they do have trouble unlocking the bar. But you know, I mean, maybe they won't go up to as high as R15 with these.
What is the max uranium we can actually hold in our base?
A little over 2, wasn't it? 2,
Well,
10-ish?
so
Well,
I've got
252 at the moment, and I've done 3 warehouses to R12, is it? Or level
13,
12 or
12.
13 or whatever it is.
13.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know how anybody's going to be able to hold 300k. You can get to 250 if you do all your warehouses to the max level, but you can't get to 300.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe that's on purpose, maybe not, but that's how it's going to be.
Also, with a Drax scattergun turret, I mean, the ones that they're releasing for our base have got an insane range, and I'm assuming that these are better than that. So I wonder what the range of this is going to be like. I mean, sounds to me like this is going to be quite extensive range. So anybody going in there is going to have to really be, well armed.
Well, the extra range for the retrofits is for the ballista and Deadeye ballista. The scattergun turret is splash.
Yeah.
I've walked into a few of them, and they do quite a nice bit of damage, when you first walk into them.
Yeah, I got hit just before the show, and my scattergun had just finished, and it was a heavy cruiser fleet. Now I still lost, but but I went from doing about 50% damage to a heavy cruiser fleet to they just had a sliver left. So it made a big difference. And I could see it. It really again, it knocked these HCs down visibly. One shot was maybe 10% of their health. So they're good. You want them, use them.
Definitely, mine finishes it. Well, actually, I think, yeah, mine's only just finished, so it's just gone in the base. So, someone come test it out for me, please, without bunker buster in it.
I'm still working on retroing my Cobras, so you guys have fun with that. I was just wondering, I don't know if anybody's seen the new targets on the map. They're going to have a scattergun as well, a draconian scattergun, it looks like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, who knows what's going to be.
Yeah.
Coming soon?
Coming soon. They said that for a long time with our regular track bases, so we'll wonder how long it'll be. Yeah, it is trademarked. Yep.
So speaking of soon, let's talk schedule. December, we all know the raid's coming up starting the 10th, so that's just under a week. You should have gotten the pop-ups. And I don't have anything else on the raid this time, but it is supposed to be pretty much the same format as last time. We don't know if the enemies are going to be exactly the same or not, but we'll see. And then the last weekend of December, the 26th and 27th, is going to be both VXP weekend, so those Reaver bases will be coming back. And then the Holiday Fat will also be same time. And they said it's going to be a casual fat for skins, badges, crews, and gold.
So
you guys
bust
participate?
your wallet warrior. No,
I
I
didn't
have
play the
not
Halloween one
participated.
though. I skipped that one.
I
Some people
skipped
said they
last-
enjoyed it though.
Yeah, I played it. I didn't spend anything but uranium and had fun, and I was top 10.
I
Wow.
played it. I was top 10. Got some gold.
Yeah, that's right. I got 50 gold and didn't spend a thing.
Anything that's not locking brand new tech or critical tech behind a firewall like that is a good thing. So I'd like to transition to friendly fats. I might dick around with it and see. Since people
might
are
give it
home
a try.
anyway, why not?
Yeah. See what I can do without putting in a bunch of gold, because I mean the gold prize seemed like kind of a joke. I know the guy that won it in the group I was in had to have spent at least several hundred gold to get his. So
Yeah. All right, and then the rest of the schedule, they're a little more vague about the timeline, but Sector Threat Orange is coming soon. You probably have seen those Drac uranium bases on the map. I think I have a slide on that coming up. Alliance improvements also coming in December, so we'll see that. And then Forsaken Mission New Tech, and they also were vague on that, but usually the new tech comes out in the first mission after the raid, and after these 6-day raids, they usually start the mission on Thursday. So having the new tech come out on the 17th is my guess. And so yeah, and the new tech is supposed to be a Phalanx 4, Explosive System 4, and UAV battery. UAV battery is the one you ought to keep your eye on. We have heard that the new raid prize is going to be a UAV ship and new UAV. So if you're one of those guys that likes to coin these ships right away, just be warned that right after the raid's over, there's going to be a new UAV special. So, yeah.
Coin some holes and let them sit for a day or two.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're the kind of guy you can walk through the FM twice easily, no real effort. Just give it a day. Give it 2 days.
Yep.
I'm not too fond of UAV holes for the fact that how the Atlas went. With I know it's fine for people controlling a base, but as soon as I saw 4 Atlases fully ranked, I walked away from the base and said, "Nah, screw that." And I hope this is not going to be the same.
Yeah, we'll
I'm
just have
hoping
to
it's
wait.
more. I'm hoping it's more going to be like a base defense UAV hull, so it'll have more range or whatnot. I think just more like the Enforcer sort of thing.
Mm. Yeah. All right. So let's move on because we do want to get to the SOG. Okay, so real quick though, Sector Threat Orange. So when it's out, you're gonna have to hit armadas to keep going up into the yellow. Hopefully they'll improve the spawn rate. I know that's a problem in a lot of sectors. Prizes will include uranium and new blueprints. So, and this is what you see if you click on one of those. So again, it looks like there's kind of legs to this base, and then it looks like a big giant ship in the middle. They have talked about these mega hulls, and sector threat level red to unlock the core. So put together a handy visual reminder for all of us. We've got orange, sector threat orange, and red is coming soon. So that's all you get for red.
That's a shame. I was looking at the slides beforehand. I was thinking, why has he done that?
And prizes will include just above Miss Red there. That is purely coincidental. I'm making no assertion that she will be among the prizes.
Put the ghost caller.
Hi.
Please put the ghost caller in the base.
There's plenty of space right between the middle for the ghost crawler to fit.
Oh, so we're still going on about the boobs.
That was moving along there, sunshine.
Moving right along. Okay, so to the state of the game, which is where hopefully we can spend the most time this evening and get the most opinions from our panel and from chat. So, just to clarify, this is the first time they've done this, I think. And it is a missive from our lead designer on the state of Battle Pirates and what direction we want to take moving into 2016. They want to improve transparency and improve the game. So again, we're hoping for a roadmap as to where the game is going. And I put the forum link, but it is pinned to the top of general discussion, so it's tough to miss. So these next slides are essentially each of them is just a piece of the SOG, and I'll try and hit the high points, and then we can all talk about it. So the first problem they identified is overpriced builds and refits, and they say blah blah blah. Increased fleet size, increased cost per component, increased slots. So they say no singular feature will fix this problem in the short term. And here's the changes they're planning. Build times will be assigned based on weight they add. Components that are often refit will be given a lower time cost and a uranium cost. And I noticed armors were in that list. Hull build costs will be based on ship weight capacity, with a couple exceptions. And then a new research system will offer multiple opportunities to lower shipyard build costs. So, what do we think about all this?
I'm really glad about putting research back into the game, because I got all these labs in there doing nothing apart from being level 11 just to get, you know, the shipyard up to level 3. So I'm really looking forward to see what research they can put in.
Okay.
I'm not sure what to think about it. I'd love to see some research come back into the game, but then again, one of the specials that's supposed to come out during the FM, I believe, was like Explosive System 4, and we can research 1, 2, and 3, and then they're going to put 4 in the FM. Wondering why they didn't just add that to the research as well. I mean, I'd love to see some research back in the game for sure.
Okay. So I actually want to talk about this weight-based build time. You know, I mean that. You know, in my articles, I'm always computing, you know, build time per ton. You know, I've been publishing that for weapons lately when comparing, and you can really see some big discrepancies. And it's really worth keeping an eye on, right? Because if build time is based on weight, then, you know, when you have Dock 12 and you have 38,000 ton fleets, then the question is, how long is it going to take you to build a 38,000 ton fleet? Is it going to be a month? Is it going to be 3 months? Is it going to be 5 months?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on how they're going to do the numbers with it, because they're not really offering anything to how the weapons and the armors and the special everything will be for this sort of to lower sort of thing to go with the weight. Sorry. So until you see numbers, it's still an open ball game, really.
Yeah, but I think it's an interesting it's an interesting proposal, and I guess the real question is, you know, what's the new fleet build time going to be? We don't know.
Yeah, she's all up in there.
Yeah, but essentially it's going to be whatever they want it to be, and I think the positive thing, though, is that if they do it right, it's going to fix, I think, one of the worst problems with build time, which is that these crappy small fleets that level 40 and 50 players can build take just as long as these fleets that level 80 and 90 players are building, and that's just out of whack for their capability.
Yeah, I agree. The newest tech should have longer. The newest hull should have a newer. I mean, I remember playing one game where like the longest build was like 12 days, and the next newest boat that came out, it became 12 days, and the old boat was 10 days. And as they aged, they got less, and that seemed like a pretty simple fix to me. So when they say there's not a single way to fix it, I'm thinking they have fixed it. Other people have fixed it, but I don't know why they're not paying attention to what other people are doing.
Yeah, that's something we've talked about as well, is that they could just reduce the build time of old tech.
They
Yeah.
did start rebalancing before, didn't they? Where they were lowering the build times and lowering the repair times of certain things, weren't they? And then, I mean, not repair times, they were lowering the build times of the older ships. And then that happened for like a month with the updates, and then they stopped it completely.
Yeah, they didn't really follow through there, right? They rebalanced the weapons, I think, summer of last year, and then they said they were going to do armors, and they just didn't.
And the problem is sometimes what they rebalance is stuff that's irrelevant. You know,
Yeah, a lot
It's like
of that was. Yep.
it just proves once more they're really not playing the game. I think that's part of their core problem is they don't have an understanding. Like I remember when Schwag was their CM, he played the game. He played the game without 80,000 million coins, and he insisted that he play that way so he understood what the gamers were going through. And I think what we've seen in the past is CMs that don't know what's going on. They know what the guy that has an unlimited budget is going through, and it seems like they keep doing things based on that need. Oh, I need to be able to coin easier. Seems to be the focus.
Yeah. More opportunities to coin, yeah. So,
But any improvement is an improvement, to be honest.
Agreed. Yeah.
So if they're lowering it a little now and then they relook into it later to improve it even more, then you don't know what's coming up. So it's just a sit and wait game with it, really.
Yeah. Well, it's like they said with their baby steps. They still haven't made any, but at least they're talking about it now. You know, they're mentioning a baby step. They're talking about lifting that foot and moving it forward. So perhaps we'll see something good.
yeah, and I'm, I guess, a little bit sympathetic in that it's good to come up with a plan before you just start changing stuff.
Odd that we don't see a little more detail. As they mentioned transparency, we see no detail and dates being moved constantly, and then finally just said, we're not using any dates now. We're not confirming any dates. So that's confirming that they have no standard and that we're removing any standards that we had before. To me.
Yeah, you know what? Price had a really funny line last night. I got to repeat it. He said, oh gosh, and I forget it. It was like, crap. It was like, yeah, they instead of holding themselves to a higher standard, they just decided to throw the standards out the window. It was really funny.
That's essentially what it is. They're saying they want transparency, and then they keep clouding the water. So.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else want to talk about this slide, or should we move on?
I think we're good.
Good.
All right.
Yeah. Beat it up.
Okay. Return to research. You guys already mentioned that you were looking forward to this. So, starting at Outpost 6, players will have the opportunity to complete new in-game objectives. So they gave an example there for the Draconian shipyard. Hit some stuff and get some shards, and then you get to research 2% reduced build time. So objectives will come out in December with additional ones to follow quarterly. each permanent effect will stack. And so there's that. Comments?
That's confusing. You get to
Stack to
get
what?
these shards, and they last for 24 hours, or they're permanent, or
Well,
I'm sorry, I'm lost.
What I think is going on is you go hit some stuff or do some stuff, and then that unlocks a research. And then, so it's like a prerequisite. You have to do something as a prerequisite. And then you can do this research, assume in one of your labs, and then that research completes and you get this benefit. In their example, it's a lowered build time.
I mean, it's the numbers. Some people are going to be a bit shocked that it's 2%, but the wording does lead you to believe they're going to continue to do this in the future, so that can become 10%, 15%, 20% over time.
Right. If you can keep doing a 2% here and a 2% there, it is going to add up. So, so there's that.
There'd have to be some kind of limit too, though. Like then they're going to what to 20% or 10%, 5%. Who knows?
Right.
I think it's a nice way to get people active again. But yeah, I think the same thing. It starts at 2%, and what we need is 50, and we don't want it to go too high because we don't want everything instantly either. So and it's a fine line they're walking, but we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put stock in this kind of stuff to really be the fix to the time problems that we're all having. I would say again, it's back to that last thing. What's the build time for a 38,000 ton fleet?
Yeah, and again, they keep saying there's no one fix. I mean, if it's going to be a fix that they want, just lower the build time. Don't make us go get the cheese, to get the rat, to get the cat, to get the dog, to get the bone, to stick it in our backside just so that we can have lower build time. Just give us lower build time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to disagree there. I mean, I know it does seem simpler just to lower the build times, but having an objective to do it makes people work for it a little. I know it seems like another chore, but the objectives came out in the game and no one really paid attention to them because they didn't mean nothing. They didn't really give you anything. So having an objective that will give you something such as lowering build times, then I think that's a good thing. I mean, it might get a bit complicated in Huggies when you're trying to build a fleet and then you're trying to work out, right, so I have this percentage here, I have that percentage there and everything, so it's going to be harder to design a fleet around it in, say, Huggies or anything, but something like this, I think will be entertaining.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm mixed feelings on it. Basically, it was kind of like the repair modifier. They came out with it for a little while and gave it to a few almost irrelevant holes and then walked away from it. I'm hoping they don't get this started and do the same thing, except we end up with some very complex glitch filling device that's now making the game tiny bit better, but causing more problems than we already have. I'd like to see a simple, just keep it simple way. I mean, not that we don't need something to work for. I agree we do need something worthwhile to work for, and this would be a great thing if it works that way. It has the potential to be that thing that if we work really for, we can benefit ourselves. So we'll see.
All right. Anyone else want to talk about this?
Just want to point out a comment from one of the guys in chat, David Wolf, that there's no real mention of dates or anything. So it looks like they're still working on this and how to fully do it. So they're not going to give dates because they might have to push it back like they're doing at the moment with certain things. So I mean, you'd never give a date for something that's not complete without not knowing how long it's going to take to do. Because there's so many different teams working on so many different things, the graphics, designers, you don't know how long it's going to take them to do it. So they're not going to give dates this early on. This is just something they want to work on throughout the year. This is like an action plan.
And which I would like them to do it that way, because I'd rather them, sort it out before we get into it and say, well, this is wrong, Why can't they just do what they're doing and just make sure it's right in the first place?
Exactly. It comes back to test servers for me too, because I see a lot of negative input in chat over there, and I'm hard pressed not to look at it with a little bit of understanding, because I don't want them to crank something out that doesn't work, and I don't want them to crank something out quick that isn't helpful. And I urge them again to just get involved with test servers. Let your players help you decide what works. If they say it's garbage, you might want to pay attention, because they know what they're saying. They've been playing this game a lot longer than the Kixeye employees have. I dare say.
Well, yeah, I don't know that test servers are the answer to these kind of time issues, right? Because if they adjust the time to build a top end fleet from say 4 months to 2 months, what effect does that have on the game long term? You can't really figure that out unless you can't figure that out on a test server that you keep up for a week.
Yeah, but things like repairs and other things you can. I mean, just certain things you would be able to know. I mean, there are going to be aspects of the game you can test serve, and like you said,
True. Yeah,
but I think lower is better. Period. At any level. Sorry.
Yeah, and testing has certainly got to be part of their solution. I mean, we talked already about how this new repair feature came out and it was just broken. So, all right, move on from research.
Yep.
All right. Overpowered weapons. So 2015 has seen extreme jumps in the power of weapons, most notably the Arbalest, Antipode Launcher, and Blade Missile. I think I've also pointed that out, and a lot of people are focused on hulls, and I really counsel people to keep an eye on the weapons and grab hulls based on what weapons you have. So this is certainly a thing. Many weapons are well behind the power curve. And so they're going to do it again, and we talked about it before. They did it a year and a half ago. Game-wide weapon rebalance to bring more weapons and weapon categories back into use. And they say if you don't have the hottest new weapon, you can still be competitive in the game, or at least that's where they want to go.
That's the scary part to me.
Well, how do you think that's scary?
When they say they're going to rebalance weapons. So.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because I do a lot of number crunching, and I calculate DPS, and I calculate DPS per weight, and that's not the only factor in how effective a weapon is, right? You have the Arbalests, which are decent in DPS per weight, but the fact that they fire at the spot and can hit a whole fleet makes them a lot more powerful than just the DPS numbers say. And the Locust UAV has got a huge DPS per weight, but because the UAVs have this effect where their damage is backloaded, right? They got to travel to the target, and then they got to build and build and build. UAVs are essentially less effective than their DPS would imply by just the numbers. So, they got to be careful when they do this stuff.
It's more of, understanding that there is the top tier weapons like the Blade and the Antipode Launcher and the Arbalest, but some weapons are so underpowered compared to these, it is beyond a joke that it would be good to see them come up. So if you say like got siege missiles, compare them to the Blade, not the Harriers or anything. If you take the siege missile, a lower level player will be able to get the siege missile, but he may not be able to get the blade. So if you've been up to a high level where you could be doing the FM to get the blade, then it's something that is beneficial. But say if you're bringing the blade missile, the siege missile onto the same sort of level as the blade missile, only slightly lower, then you're going to be people thinking, well, why am I using blades? Why am I working this hard to get blades and everything when I could just be using siege missiles?
Well, I think we've seen players will do a lot for small advantages. But, yeah. Again, it's a fine line, I guess.
Well, it takes me back to the days when we used to use instant Seawolves. You can't put enough on a Seawolf today of anything to make it really all that useful for much. I mean, especially in a raid. The targets are just too overwhelming. The hit points of our targets have forced us to use these big boats to be successful, large amounts of armor to be successful, tons of evade to be successful. And then you've got this Seawolf with one armor slot. It's almost, unless you're going to go salving, it's an irrelevant boat. I mean, there's a lot of them now. There's just so many boats that you can't make good because of its limitations. And if you bring some of that stuff up, I think maybe you can make them relevant again. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I had something I wanted to talk about, and it just escaped me. Maybe I should drink more beer.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
It just got me thinking, making stuff better for the lower players. I mean, I think the potential is there strongly to do that if you can increase some of the lower to mid-level tech. But I agree, it doesn't need to be anywhere near the high-level tech because that needs to remain a goal. It needs to remain a prize. There has to be something for us to keep working that hard for, or people will stop playing altogether.
Yeah. Well, okay, I remembered. Here's the thing, right? You mentioned the siege missiles, right, before. And the real problem I have with siege missiles right now is somebody wins a siege missile E, let's say, from blueprints. They win this pretty early on, and they say, "Hey, I just won the siege missile E. I'm so excited. It's got so much more damage and stuff." And then a player like me looks at it and says, "Yeah, but it's going to take you a day and a half to build that piece of junk where I've got a missile that hits 5 times as hard, twice as fast, and boy, it only takes a third of the time to build." I mean, that early stuff has got to just build faster.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
it's all kind of related.
If they could do it DPS per ton, and make it relative, something like that. I know those comparisons are what we rely on. Thank you very much, but it is. We rely on those statistics because you can't look at the raw data of the damage. You have to look at the effectiveness of it, the fire rate. Everything pans out, and the only way you can really do it is to either slap it on your boat or ask somebody who's already experienced that weapon and that tells you that is a piece of junk. You shouldn't waste your time on that.
Right.
Get something that takes 19 hours. Don't put that depth charge that takes 3.5 days to put on there when it doesn't work anyway.
Siege S.
Salt missiles that take a full day, or
Yeah, you're right. It's
assault
completely crazy.
cannons.
It is
Yeah,
crazy.
Siege cannons, the same thing. I was going to say siege cannons are a day and a half as well.
Yep.
I mean, that's just nuts. They fixed the new stuff. They just haven't done anything to the old stuff. And wait, you're right. They're heavy too.
If they the siege missile D55Z is 1,000 tons, where the blade is 300 tons, I believe it was. Yeah. So if they are going to change it where weight is the build time, then it makes the siege missile Z, as an example, even worse because the build time is not really, where the blade's going to go down for the weight, the blade will drop less because of, let me start again. Where the blade will go down even more than what the Siege Z will because of the weight. Where there's so it's like a 700 100-ton difference. So when they're rebalancing, they've got to think of the weight of the older weapons as well if they want to make them more relevant.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they talked about weight here, right? And I highlighted it. Weapon weight will be more important to understanding the power of a weapon than it is today. And then, they talked about build time also being more heavily based on weight. So I think that's a good thing, right? Because players, as they progress through this game, very specifically, you increase your dock, you increase your fleet weight, you get access to ships that have more weight capacity. So I think it's something that they can really hang their hat on. And, you know, power creep is one thing, but I don't think people would mind power creep so much if the build time and the repair time didn't creep up so much as well, right?
It's more like power leap.
Well,
And I hope they actually do consult with somebody on some of this stuff rather than just come up with a number saying, oh, this one weighs 1,000 tons, let's make it this high. I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again, they really need to get somebody like Huggy in there who can say, hey, this weapon needs to be, if this weapon is 19 hours and is top tier, then this weapon is nowhere near top tier. And if you're going to give it a build time, you also need to give it like a tiny little weight, to go with it instead of 1,000 ton, so they can balance it item by item instead of doing a mass overhaul as things are. I just hope they actually take the time to do some homework, and I hope. I don't have the trust. I don't have the trust they'll do it right. I just want them to hire Huggies or hire BP Professor or somebody to get in there and line by line give them a list of what to balance it out, what it would take, what it would, and then if they use it, they use it. If they don't, they don't. But at least they know, the critical data has been crunched properly.
That's a good idea.
My biggest worry is them nerfing stuff that we have now. That's where I'm kind of like, that's my drawback.
Well,
see,
they said that they weren't going to do that.
right.
But the objectivity. Sorry. I was just hoping that they would be objectivity wise instead of just looking at the amount that can be made, which seems to be their overwhelming concern. They need to look at the fact that we don't want our game destroyed. So to take a constructive criticism from somebody who has proven over time that they have the best interests in mind, like yourself and Huggy. I mean, you guys have been involved in this game for a long period of time. You'd like to see it fixed, not easy. And why can't they just take that less for granted? Is you're just going to ruin our cash cow, and just say, hey, look, you want this game fixed. Okay, how do we fix it? Reach out to one of you guys. I'm telling Kixeye, here's your opportunity. We can't trust you to do this. These are great ideas that you're coming out with, but in your past, you've shown us that you can't do this. I'm hoping that somebody's watching and will understand that I don't want to do the job. It's way too overwhelming for me. I don't understand all the aspects of it, but I'm not the number cruncher that you need. And frankly, the professor is the number cruncher. Huggies is the number cruncher. These guys have done the math.
Yeah. Well, again, I think making the call it the capability and the build time weight based gives them sort of a common, I'll call it baseline to hang this capability off of. And so I think it's a good foundation. And again, my question, which we'll just have to wait and see, is how are they going to scale it? It's a good thing they can scale the build times off weight, but is it going to be 1 month or is it going to be a year?
And with the weight not changing, that sounds like a disaster. Just reading it at face value, unless the weight's changed so that the times change properly, basing it solely on weight as is, it sounds like a disaster.
Well, okay, so here's an interesting question, and Cougar, you talked about you really don't want them to nerf stuff you have, right? But okay, so let's talk about the blade missile versus the siege missile. Okay, blade missile weighs 300 tons. siege missile weighs 1,000 tons. So, um, is it really that much different if the siege missile all of a sudden becomes a lot more powerful? Is that like a big difference compared to nerfing the blade?
I'm gonna hate destroying the fleet that I just wrecked. Be really unhappy with those MCXs I got rid of.
Well, yeah, I mean,
You understand though.
well, right, and again, my point is I don't see a whole lot of difference between bringing a whole bunch of stuff up or moving stuff down. I mean, I guess it feels different, but fundamentally, it's almost the same. You know, some people get lucky because maybe they've got this old stuff that all of a sudden got improved, or some people get unlucky because they have this stuff that got nerfed. It's all just a dice roll when they make these rebalancing. Some people get helped and some people get hurt.
And that wasn't even my question. I'm sorry I jumped in there. I didn't
No,
know if he was listening. The question was for Cougar, right?
yeah. Can I answer?
You mean Chuck?
Chuck.
Yeah, he's just gone to the bathroom.
Oh,
All right.
well, when he paused for too long, I jumped in. I'm sorry, but yeah,
No,
just how I felt about it was the fact that I mean, it is going to be a lot of change, and if it's done right, and if they do it right, it can be an opportunity to fix the game in many aspects. I think.
To be honest, I'd say bringing weapons up is better than bringing weapons down, because it's going to help the lower levels more, and the lower levels are the ones that are suffering the most in this game. Okay, we got long build times, but there's so many that can't get because Kixeye base a lot of things on the latest tech.
Yeah.
So if you've got lower weapons that are doing, say, 75% better, then and our example, say we're doing 100 damage with the blade and they're doing 75 with the siege missile. I wouldn't mind that because it's helping them out in the long run, because it could help them to get the better tech, the tech that they want to use, and they become more competitive, they become more addicted, should I say, and more enjoyment out of the game, because they have a chance where some people just look at it, take their siege missiles at the moment and go, well, you're using blades and you're doing fine. I'm using siege missiles, I'm getting nowhere. What's the point? See you later.
Exactly. It kind of bridges the gap. I hope it's going to bridge the gap, because that's exactly it, especially during the raid times when you see their targets are just minorly easier, if at all easier, than the end game player's targets. And I went to help somebody with a lower target and actually took more damage. And I thought, well, no wonder they can't do it with the tech they have. And these things are actually harder.
Yeah, those C sets were ridiculous. They messed that up.
Yeah. I hope they can fix that in this next rendition. But yeah, the C's and even some of the B's were no big deal. The points were minuscule, and the damage was enormous comparatively. And even with the best mid-level stuff, it was futile.
Yeah.
Because I was going at it with blades, and it was futile. I was begging them, let's go hit some bigger targets. Go after some A's. I can't do anything to A's. Well, just park a sub in the corner and I'll deal with it, But I mean, I hate to have to play a game like that, and I'm sure it's not any enjoyment for them either. They get something out of it, but it's nobody's fun. Nobody's having a great time.
Right.
That seems to be lost in the confusion here. Is the focus is on lots of things, but I haven't heard anybody say fun, and I have yet to hear somebody say they would recommend this game, and I'm hoping I live long enough to see this game recommended by somebody to somebody.
Yeah. All right, let's move on from weapons, I think. Cheaters and exploits.
Ooh.
Continuing to identify and solve cheats and exploits. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't even know what else to say about this. I mean, I don't know. Yes, you gotta improve that, because getting beaten by a cheater just is not fun for your customers.
I think me, Larry, and Earth was discussing this the other week about this, and it just seems so easy to do now that people can cheat and everything. I mean, you see that what's his name? BP, what's his name? He jumps from sector to sector. He's got like 100 bases down. He gets banned within a day or something. But
Oh, Bob Jim, that guy.
he's well, he's like got the fleets with the 100 range V2s and the Ghost Caller or the Tiger. That's a massive graphic on the screen and whatnot. Before they even came out, it was like, if they're pulling this out. I mean, we used to have a hacker, I think, on one of the other pages who would hack the new fleets before they even came out in a raid, post videos so we could see what they would do. And although that was helpful, you know, this guy was going around as well as hitting players' bases with these brand new holes and stuff. And it's like, yeah, they're not even released yet. The raid hasn't even started, and this guy's already going around hitting bases.
Yep. I mean, this is important, and the other thing that really I think pisses a lot of people off is that there's a, you know, I think that cheaters are getting treated inconsistently. You know, some people have to, you know, say they're sorry and they get their base back, and you know, blah blah blah. I think Kixeye needs to be more consistent.
Definitely. I mean, you can't treat people different, and then it takes away all the crap that people spew, saying that, oh, you know, I won, they did this to get me banned, or someone did that to get me banned. It's like, no, you either did it or you didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they've got to be more sure on what they're doing, because some people are getting unbanned within hours of being banned and stuff, and it's like, that's credibility for that player gone down the drain, because it is a very competitive game. So
Right.
some might be falsely accused and get banned for on the auto system or by Kixeye for accidentally as well. So it's a double-edged sword sort of thing where they're losing credibility, and some of these guys take it very, very seriously on their credibility and how they play. And you ban them for an hour, boom, they're up on a page and it's spread around everywhere, and they're getting called everything, you know, cheater and all this hacker and all that, when they might not be. So
Right.
it's being sure as well of what you're doing, being sure that they are cheating, and prompt with it as well. Because if, like, again, that BP, whatever his name was, going around with that 100 range missile fleet, 2 hours on the game of him playing could mean 50 to 100 dead bases, and each player has then got to pay for their dock, and Kixeye doesn't, you know, reimburse you for that.
Yep.
So what, the player has to pay because of the security is not tight enough within their game.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to say about hackers, cheaters?
Go play another game.
Yeah. That and the fact that there has been an explosion of them recently. I mean, I don't know if they changed something to make it easier for people to get their hands on exploits or whatever, but it does seem like they have been a lot more of them recently. So I know that they've even made it easier to report them, so that says something in and of itself. But people are getting desperate. They're going to do it if they feel it's the only way they can have fun, and they ought to pay attention to that. You know, I think if we could, you know, rely on the fact that everybody wants to have fun, and some people are, I guess, on their way out, foot in the door, ready to quit the game anyway. I don't know if that's, I don't know what motivates them, but it seems like that could motivate somebody to do something like this. And again, their credibility, you know, they need to be convincing that this game's going to get better so people don't quit or cheat.
Yeah.
You know, be stronger with your words, you know, don't be so, what's the term, you know, inconsistent, you know, convince the player base that they're going to have a game here, it's going to get better, and perhaps they'll stop, you know, stop the cheaters, stop the rage quitting.
Okay.
That's all I have on that, you know.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to move on. VXP. So The original goal of VXP was to reward players for playing with their ships, but has become one of the most important stats in the game. Short term, they plan to run VXP events more frequently, and I guess we're seeing that, right? We had one end of November, and we're having another one end of December, so that's good, I guess. So they have some new ideas here, reduce the power gained from VXP, allow newly built hulls to start a higher VXP, alter the bonuses that they provide per hull. So this one is one of my hot buttons because I firmly believe that Kixeye screwed this one up when they increased the rank limit from 25% to 75%. I really think that they did not realize that the VXP fire bonus was calculated differently than the reload fire bonus. I would love the chance to have an honest talk with the designer and find out what really happened, because a 75% that 75% fire bonus you get at legendary rank multiplies your fire rate by 4, okay? Because your reload time is multiplied by 1 minus the 75%. All your other reload bonuses are divided by 1 over 1 plus 75%. So if the VXP reload bonus was applied just like every other reload bonus, it would still be a benefit, but a legendary ship would be a little less than double the fire rate instead of 4 times the fire rate. And so it would still be good and it would still be worth going after, but it wouldn't be this ridiculous must-have bonus. But they're not going to do that. They're not going to fix that because that's a huge nerf for things that people have spent a huge amount of money on. But that's my
I hope they don't, because I actually have a few legendary fleets now, and I miss it. I can't imagine them fire rate dropping in half because they fix it now.
I like the second idea in that, more of starting them higher in the process instead of being completely blank. There's so many fleets and ship designs that are built around that buff that to take it away would really fuck up a lot of people's stuff.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
Agree. I don't think it was intentional to have a 400% increase, but it is something special when you get it on certain hulls.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
It would I wouldn't say it would ruin them, but to drop their DPS in half, is pretty significant, and making it twice as expensive to do something wouldn't exactly help the community either.
Fair point. Fair point.
I'm curious with this VXP because you also get a turn bonus, and it doesn't mention nothing about the turn bonus on there.
Yeah. I mean, the turn bonus is good, but people aren't ranking ships just to get a little better turn. They're ranking it for the fire rate.
I'm ranking my heavy cruiser just for the turn bonus.
Fair.
I've seen his heavy cruiser. That thing is a boat anchor in the way it turns.
Well, they all are until you get the certain specials, the limited specials for them.
Yeah.
Sorry, I jumped the gun on that one a little bit.
No, that's okay. I mean, yeah. So, alter the bonus that VXP provides per hull. I mean, that sounds like maybe they want to give different bonuses for VXP. Maybe some ships will get fire rate, some ships will get something else.
Yeah, like a defensive boat might get a better defensive ability, or something like a Triton might get a better, because that's the type of hull it is. Or a Hurricane, because they put out drones, might change that a little bit. I think that's a good idea if they can do that, if that's what it means.
Okay.
What do you think about the idea of VXP only working? So if it's a missile hull, the VXP only works for missiles and not for launchers or other types of weapons?
If you take... Sorry, go on.
No, please, go ahead.
I was just thinking about the Hellhound, because the Hellhound, you see mortars on them, you see launchers on them, you see missiles on them, and the rank on them does benefit them greatly with their overload. So, I mean, with a hole like that,
But what were they designed for?
mortars at the time, I think it was. No, it was throwers, flame.
Throwers. They
Throwers.
came out with throwers.
And nobody wants to use throwers because of the range.
Hmm. Not as a main weapon. No.
So making it sort of specific to a certain weapon type, that could get dicey with certain holes.
Or if they just added it to that specific thing, maybe instead of getting a bonus, get a regular bonus for one thing and an extra bonus for, say, countermeasures on a Triton. Something like that would be welcome.
Mm. Yeah. So, I think what's interesting is if you that first bullet, they talk about reducing the power gained from VXP, and they've already started that, and it's the DPS bonus. Because the DPS bonus is flat, and they didn't explain it well at the outset, but the DPS bonus does not increase as you rank up. So, like a Tiger Shark, at 0 rank, you might be doing a lot of damage from that 1200 assault DPS that the Tiger Shark has. But then once you get ranked, your reload goes up. Then your weapons are doing a lot more damage. So that they're already doing that a little bit. So we might see more DPS type bonuses.
Well, it does say that they are working on new ideas, so I think the important thing is to know that this is nothing set in stone. But at least they're trying. I mean, VXP has been a necessity. It's no longer a wish thing. You get a hole now, and that's your focus, is to rank it. You don't really have any other focus on anything else but your new hole and getting it ranked now. So whatever they do with this could change the game dramatically as well.
It's good to see they're listening, because with the reintroduction of those armadas again, in pretty much the same form, same fashion, relatively the same payout for VXP, we all kind of were fearful that they were going to cut that in half, cut it by the 25% of what it was. I think they've kind of listened to us and understand that we just one more thing we don't want to deal with. So I'm hopeful they keep these armadas coming out. I hope they do it once every month, once every 2 months.
I think that's what they're planning. Once a month is what I heard.
I mean, I got pretty much everything that I wanted to do done, but I wouldn't mind doing it once every 2 months and knocking it out and moving forward. So good on you, Kixeyes. I'll give you a check for that one today.
Yeah.
I think once a month is too much.
I would say it was a lot to do it every month, but then again, we got new holes every month, and it does give the guy that's putting forth the cash and the coin on the new hole the opportunity to get his rank the easy way, rather than having to grind on it, I see a lot of higher ranked heavy cruisers running around going, well, I guess that worked out pretty well for those guys.
Yeah, Prof, did you see side chat there? It's a good point. Oh.
Yeah.
Because I know we talked about cores were only mid-30s was the highest you needed to go. There was a couple of those where we had hit those glass ceilings.
Yeah, well, that's the VXP rank. Yeah, that's really only on the rocket hulls that I've ever seen that, where the rank doesn't help your fire rate. When you get these weapons with 4-second reloads, you just never hit that 0.2 limit. So, yeah. All right, let's move on from VXP.
We're just getting a crackling on someone's mic.
Yeah. I don't know who that. Okay, just went away. All right, so let's talk about repair times. Arguably, the largest pain point from the community has been the cost of repair in the game. I think it's not arguably. I think it is, right? Because when somebody has all their ships busted up, they're either got to spend or take a break. So they say the cost to repair is too damn high. And they say they're looking at this data to formulate a specific and actionable plan to reduce the cost of repair in the game. Now, I'm going to say it first. I'm going to say that this this piece of the SOG is the weakest, and it is the most important. They have no plan here for reducing repair times. They really don't. You know, other stuff they have a plan, and you can see that they're going somewhere, but here they have no plan, and it's disappointing. So, yeah. What else? Do you guys? Sorry for setting such an absolute tone here. Do you have something else to say about it?
I think it's their cash cow, and they refuse to do anything but milk it. I'm not even sure they're willing to feed it. It needs to be dealt with, though. I mean, we need some repair time relief. I mean, to simply say 1 second per point is and then it's going to always be that way, and we keep getting higher and higher expectations of points is unrealistic.
Yep, that's right.
You know, I mean, our targets are getting higher and higher higher points, so we need higher points to fight them. Yet our repair time, you know, it needs to be capped at some point. You know, days for repairs for boats now is unrealistic when you have hours to complete things. You know, when you have a mastery level campaign that takes an hour, but your fleet takes 3 days to repair, somebody's not doing something there. It doesn't make any sense at all. That kind of catastrophe happens way too often for them to think that everything's okay and we don't need to fix it.
Yeah.
I've got to say, the repair times are more important to me than build times. If they said I can't coin nothing in the game whatsoever, I would, and they could either reduce the build times from say 3 months for a full fleet, or repair times. I would definitely go for reducing repair times over build times, because I'll happily sit and wait for the fleet to build if needed. But I want to play the game with what I've got at the time.
Right. That's right. What else?
Yeah,
I'm
they
gonna.
should drop it by half, at least, for me. It's just ridiculous having, up to 32 hours on a...
Ace, sorry man, I think your mic's gone, mate. It's just constant feedback over and constant crackling.
Yeah, we can't hear you very well. So, yeah, Irf had was it Irf or was it Payne who had that proposal and just make repair times based on the ship, was it the ship's base armor points? And it was like a lot of ships are 1 coin or 2 coin or 3 coins to repair. He went through that. It actually seemed to work out pretty well. But
yeah, I think I've seen that. I can't remember who showed me it, but working off the base armor, some of the hulls went down drastically, and it was great to see. You think I can play for 10 coins. I can coin that fleet fully dead for 10 coins. I mean, would that hurt their revenue in the long run? Because how many people would coin those 10 coins?
Well, I think that's the problem is you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. You spend all this time to build this fleet, and then you can use it once every 2 days. I mean, that's just not going to keep people interested unless you are willing to coin those repairs. Even if you're not willing to coin that build, which is astronomical, you're then choiced. Since you won't give us $1,000, you need to give us 10 every time you want to play. I have a hard time to subscribe to that. I mean, I know that as it gets worse, I coin less, not more.
Yeah, and to fix what you choose to do, right? I mean, when those Reaver hulls were coming out with 150% repair modifier, I just chose not to build them. I never built Hellhounds.
Me neither.
Why should
I'm not
I?
building
I don't
anything that doesn't. 100%'s enough. Unless it's a sub, I can run zombie effectively. 400% rebuild build time? Really? That's a good idea. On what? On what? And what planet is that okay? What's wrong with 100% on everything? I mean, honestly, you want us to use it?
Costs me enough to fix my Grimshine anyway without a effect on it. Any of these boats you're going to armor up are going to be expensive enough.
Yeah. And the minute you think bulkhead, I think cha-ching.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I got the credit card if you want to survive.
That's penalty. That's an actual premium toy right there. I mean, you got a premium boat, premium build, premium. I mean, and then go out and base hit. You're playing a different game than me if you're base hitting. I'm sorry, you are. I haven't hit bases in a long time, and I probably won't. And every time a base hitting hole comes out like this heavy cruiser, I just look at it going, that wasn't for me. There really wasn't anything other than a few small things in that last raid for me. And if that's how they want to cater, then they need to make events for base hitters, because there isn't the majority of us involved in that anymore. It needs to go back to a PvP game where it isn't now.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. That one may not have been for everyone's cup of tea, but the ability to turn that into a tank alone made that a pretty valuable haul. But I do agree with you what you said about, well, not everyone's a base hitter anymore.
I want to move on to the next slide because the next slide is about base hitting, if that's all right.
Please.
Segways.
Go for
All
it.
right. So they talk about base attacking rewards. The cost of base hitting is too high and the rewards are too low and it feels unfair. You know what I say to that when I say blah, blah, blah? Because here's the problem. The problem isn't base attacking, and the problem isn't incentives. The problem is repair times. You hit a base and it takes too long to repair your fleet. And when I hear someone like you, Nemo, say I don't hit bases anymore, I think it's a damn shame, because base hitting is really fun. Base defense, I think, is very rewarding, and they've priced such a high percentage of their players out of that aspect of the game, and that needs to be fixed, and it should be fixed by fixing repair times.
It's because they're playing two different games. I'm not even going to put a guard. I haven't put a guard fleet in over a year. Honestly, I toyed with the idea after the Hells came out, but really, the longer it came to the time after the Hells came out, the longer I just gave up on it, even building a base defense fleet. There were times when I could have got this boat or that boat for defense, but because I looked at the repair time of it, wasn't the only factor. It was the build time of it and the fact that it would have to be refit every time a new super base fleet would come out, which was way too often. So it just became a game that I didn't want to be involved in that aspect anymore. And I know a lot of people that are that way. And it's not helping the base hitters, because they roll one base after another with one fleet, and it's no longer prepping a base and using a fleet and then prepping and then bringing in another fleet. It's how many bases can you kill with this one fleet? It's gone to that point.
Yeah.
And
my record was 15 today.
See what I mean? But I mean, if you came through mine, I couldn't even really scuff your boat up enough to get you through to the paint booth to where you could make it stick.
Candy Apple's made a good comment I feel needs mention. Base hitting is the most fun part of the game. I never do it because I cannot afford it. All repairs are reserved for the weekly grind and the chores.
Yeah.
So it's basically taken out the PvP for him and just put it all against the AI because of the repairs. And it's vice versa as well, because some people may set their timers around to when their dot gets hit and they'll go hit repair, wake up in the midnight, hit repair, go to bed. Not everyone does that.
And to add to that, the repairs are so bad that a lot of people that get through tier 4 on their weekly chore hold off. I know I do sometimes. Hold off on hitting that reset button, because I'm using that time to repair boats before I hit reset, because I still haven't got the fleets to run right out and make it another 72-hour run. Because the second time I'm down to the wire usually. The first time I can do that pretty easily in half the time or 2 days. But that last one, because I'm not starting out with fresh boats, because I don't get to hit the do-over button when I need it. You know what I mean? If I could hit reset 2 days after I make it through the first time, that'd be great. At least I'd have the boats to start fresh again with.
Wait, but you can do that, can't you now?
No, when you hit reset, it starts your 3 days all over again, right then and there.
Well, yeah. So why aren't you waiting to hit reset?
Why am I waiting? Because usually
No,
by the
why
time
aren't
I
you?
get through, oh, I do wait. I do
Yeah.
wait to hit reset. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I have to use that. I have to use
Yeah.
that time to hit reset because you can't just run back into it. Your boats are so damaged, you really can't. That's what
Okay.
I'm saying is your chores become your focus. You have to bide your time with your repairs and do your chores accordingly. So things like base hitting is not an option. Even if I wanted to, which I do, base building is not even an issue either.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Fair enough. Okay. I mean, yeah. If it's taking you 5 days, 6 days to do the Forsaken mission, then yeah, you're not hitting bases.
No.
But I mean, I don't know. Does anyone think incentives are going to help people hit bases more?
Not if they don't do something about the repairs.
Yeah, I mean, just there's not enough time in a week to do everything, and until you make it to where you give some relief to that, no amount of incentive is going to work for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I just did the first part of the weekly for $10.
See, that's ridiculous. Since you have to either speed it up that much or hit it that hard that it costs you that amount of money to get through something that you should have 3 days to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's some, I think really the key is these deflection boats for doing the weeklies. Just as a piece of advice, I'm using a Hunter and a Neptune and obviously the heavy cruiser as well, and you can really cut your repair times on the weeklies with those kind of boats.
And if you don't have that, don't forget about the Jug X. The Jug X itself is still retroed up. It's still a good one just for broad penetrating
Agreed.
defense. That's what I'm
Agreed.
using. I don't have all the big boy toys, but it still works.
Okay. Yeah.
I see base attacking rewards as just another way to get people to hit bases for a different reason now that the medals didn't pan out so well.
Yeah.
It's a shame. They could have done something with those medals, but I do love hitting bases. I mean, even when I didn't coin, I still loved it. Even when I was waiting for the repairs, I would happily sign on in the middle of the night just to hit repair because, hitting bases is one of the best aspects in this game for me, along with fleet to fleet. And it's made that the fleet to fleet is pretty much gone now because it's just Phantoms against Thermal. That's it. There's no variety in base hitting. Everyone seems to be using the same type of fleet now, not always the same, different variations. And those two, it just seems like the best is the only thing. And it's the one with the most coin wins majority of the time. I know there's some people that will go out of their way to make sure they prep every base correctly and everything, and they will be very skillful players, but it is the most money wins. So make it rewarding by reducing repair times. That's rewarding.
Well, right. I mean, I think the point is make it fun so that people can do it. And the way to do that, I mean, it is fun. So just reduce repair times, and hopefully more people will be able to do it. And Nemo, I think you brought up a great point that chores crowd out base hitting. So the mission, maybe it's still too hard. I do it fairly easily now. I can do a round in an hour and a half and 4 hours of repair, but it's a problem for a lot of players, and those players can't hit bases.
Well, I see it crowding out other things too. Like when the VXP weekend comes out, I see people that are about to do their weekly. They say, "The hell with that! I'm going to rank," so their weekly gets put aside.
Yeah.
Because that's a once a month, and that weekly is going to be back next week. That's you got to pick your battle, so to speak.
Yeah, I made sure my weekly was done. I had 3 full days of repairs built up after VXP weekend. Yeah. Anyone else? Repairs, base rewards. I think this is actually that was the last of the state of the game. So, overall, what do we think? Are we hopeful? Not hopeful?
Talk is cheap. Let's see some action.
End of year plans look good until I see some decisive changes. Then I'll give you your praise. I've been a serial Kixeye hater. People know that. I don't mind giving credit where credit's due, but give me some reason to say good things about your Kixeye. Waiting.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for one thing. I'm waiting for one thing and one thing only, and I know it'll happen, or it won't. It's up to them. When people start recommending this game to somebody else, when that survey actually does something other than just irritate people when they see it, because it's such a joke, would you recommend this game? Are you kidding me? I mean, for what reason would I? That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for that reason that I would recommend this game. Because the biggest part, the thing that's missing with the build times, repair times, is fun. You can do whatever you want with the mechanics. Yeah, it's great while you're doing it, but boy, that next day, wow! And then of course you gotta have some more right away, or else it's not so fun.
And next thing you know, your wallet looks like this.
And next thing you know, you're the lead singer for Stone Temple Pilots. Sorry.
Well,
Yeah, right.
Steven's put himself on the corner now to earn himself some BP coins, so if you want to see his man boobs, send him 100 coins.
I am always up for whoring myself out for coins. Whatever is necessary.
Wow. You're going to have to come up with something better than your man boobs, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much do we have to pay to not see them? Nothing personal.
I'll take money for whatever people are offering. You could send me some messages. We'll figure some stuff out. I'm flexible. No credit needed. We don't need no credit up in here. Buy here, pay here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of it though is we want to see something, and I hear it over and over again. There's just too many whiners, too many people asking for different things, and you can complain about little things all you want, but I just got to ask you if you're having fun. If you're having fun, then yeah, you shouldn't be whining. Agreed. But if you're not having fun, you've got two choices. Stop whining. I could turn off the mic, I guess, if that would make people happy. But it is cheap to talk, and if it's the only thing I can do because I can't, coin base repairs and fleet repairs and all the other things, then I guess that's what I'm left to do is ask for more help, whine to Kixeye for more assistance in making their game above all fun.
Yeah.
They have their action plan. Now we need to see something put down. That's that because they bring out the little things. Give us something big. Just instead of putting that carrot in front of us, give us something that we can hold on to sort of say, yes, we understand the direction you're taking now.
Yeah, and the two people that were complaining that they couldn't coin their their fleet repair on the water, I think you need to just stop listening to those guys and listen to the other guys that say, that pretty blue stuff on the map didn't really improve my game any. A lot of things that you've been doing is not a whole lot of improvement. Look at what the majority of the people are asking for. Maybe give that a chance for once.
All right. We'll do some quick screw-ups and call it an evening, if that's all right with everybody. So I wasn't going to do screw-ups this week, and then they had Tuesday's release. Instant repair didn't work when they did that fleet map repair, and then I guess also I didn't even know at the time they screwed up the VXP and they for that. So this new feature they brought out was broken. Shame on you, Kixeye. Screwed it up. And then when they listed the retros in the whip, they didn't match what was there in the game. So I'm calling them out on that one too. These guys, this picture is the cast of The Expanse, which is a show coming out on Sci-Fi in about a week and a half. First episode's available for download. I've read the books and they're fantastic. You should all watch this show. This is the core cast, except one of those guys is wearing a red shirt, and I'll just leave that as a spoiler alert.
No.
Yeah. So anyway, But it's going to be really cool. Watch. And Kixeyes breakthrough. So SOG, I'm going to say it's a good start, and let's see some follow through. And so I chose some ladies who are soggy and wet. And so
No pictures of the follow through, no?
you know, I got to keep it what, PG-13, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I'll say I'm hopeful that I'm glad they have a plan. I'm still concerned that they don't have a plan for repairs. I don't think they do. So, and that might be the key to the whole thing. Any other words from anyone else on the panel? We're close to an hour and a half.
Just a quick question from one of the guys in chat earlier, where it was about the retrofits. I can't remember what it is, so I'm just going to go. Is there a chart anywhere that tells you the level you should stop at on retros, like where it becomes not beneficial anymore, sort of thing? Does anyone know of one?
I haven't made one. I've occasionally seen charts about UAVs, because UAVs, the retrofit helps your swarm time, and so then it kind of like it's discrete jumps, and you keep retroing and you don't get any benefit. Other than that, I mean, it's all diminishing returns.
I have a suggestion. Try it in Huggies. He does retro enhancements there. You can go in there into the retros and look before and after. Do one boat one way and one without, and take a look at what differences it makes and see if it's worth it to you.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, and you can use that to compare the retro of a weapon versus the retro of a special that affects that weapon, and see which helps you more. So that's a really good suggestion.
I think hope is probably the only thing that we're going to get out of this is a little bit of hope, and so much trust is missing that hope is such short-lived that I think no matter what they come out with, people are going to be naysayers. Just I want people to keep in mind that they could have done nothing. They're real good at that, by the way. They did that to us for quite a long time, and it is a good thing to note that they are addressing it, even if they don't say what we want them to say. That's all I got to say about the SOG is that they could have done a whole lot of nothing. They've proven how good they are at that. I'm scared when they do stuff now, though, because so often I think that's the biggest thing right now is I'm hopeful, but at the same time I'm scared. It's a lot of change. That's a lot of different things there, and they didn't promise anything. A lot of speculation even on their part, and the lack of dates, I think, is really what's given me the most hope. Because now I don't look at a certain date with dread.
Okay.
That SOG shows that there's some comprehension and some application from Kixeye on what we're saying. They see the same things. What they do about it is yet to be proven, but it's good to see that they are listening in some form or fashion. Or at least they're realistic and they see what's going on in front of them.
Or they're just telling us what we want to hear. No, I'm sorry, but I watched this company so long now. I'm like, yeah.
Well, it's tough, and like you said, when you got someone who says, well, I don't want you to nerf anything that I've got, but I want you to fix the problems, it puts them in a tough spot. So it's tricky, and hopefully they've got a plan, and I mean they've shown us this plan. Hopefully they can follow through with something good. I don't know. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't.
I'm not going to be negative about any more of it. I got a little survey that asked me would I recommend this to a friend, and I said, why in the hell would I recommend this to any person that I consider a friend? And that was my response to them. But, truth be known, what they've said is good. I hope to see some follow through.
And that's the thing. I mean, we've asked for what we would like to see the game, but what would it take for you to recommend this to a friend? I mean, you got to ask yourself that. What would it take? Kixeye maybe needs to ask us that. What would it take for you to recommend this to a friend? Because with the numbers diminishing like they are, that ought to be a concern as well. Rather than just milking the current group, you know, why not bring some new ones in?
Yep.
No.
All right.
Anything else before we're done on here?
Nope. I think we've gone. 90-minute show is a good wrap for the day, I think.
Plenty.
I think it was worth it. I think the extra half an hour was definitely worth it today. There was a lot to go through.
Makes up for the last show.
Good little cross promotion for Larry there. For anyone who's interested in The Expanse, Tested.com's got a great story about how they built the world, the sets, and fleshed out the whole art concept. So check it out.
I'm super excited for that show.
I'll throw the link for that in the video too. Just for everyone to check that out.
The first episode is available online for download. So it wasn't blow you away good, but it was good. And
I heard you were going to get a bit part as an alien in it, weren't you? No, I'm just kidding.
I can only hope. They don't have aliens. They're kind of jetting around the solar system, so it's good. It's cool stuff. All right.
So yeah, I mean, thanks for coming out, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Personally, I really did enjoy this show today, even if it was an hour and a half long. And yeah, have a good one, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully Wednesday, if Earth stops, blowing up half of Cornwall with the wind, since you keep blowing up all the electrical towers. So yeah.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Hit the button.
Can I press the button now, Stephen?
Yes, you can press the button.